Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to the Deep Space Carrier series here in Elite Dangerous. In our last episode, we found tritium, and I've spent, or not, I guess not in our last episode. In our last episode, we were doing mining because in the previous episode, we found some tritium. And I am currently in the process of trying to fill up our carrier. Oh, I'm even further behind than I thought. I could have swore I filled that back up before anything else. Let's go ahead and just take care of that real quick while I explain what we're doing today. We're just going to do some exploration nearby the carrier, because I'm going to be here for a little bit. I need to stock up on tritium, and I want to have at least 2,000 extra tritium available for when we leave here and start going back out into space again. So unfortunately, that means I'm going to have to spend a bit of my weekend doing some mining. Really would like it if they came out with some kind of option for getting tritium that didn't involve intensive mining, but unfortunately that's the world I live in right now, so it is what it is. We'll put 250-ish in there. That should be enough to fill up the tank here. So let's go ahead and deposit that. Almost fills it up. It's close enough. We'll deposit the rest of that, or I guess not. Let's hop back in here. We'll hop into our Mandalay, and we'll get started on our trip. There's our Mandalay there. You can see from the inventory that now I'm even worse off than I thought I was. I have 633 units of tritium in excess of my filled up tank. So that means I still need close to 1,500, I need 1,400-ish units of tritium to be able to leave here. So that's, I can generally get about 200-ish tons per trip in my cutter. But that usually takes over an hour to get 200 and however many units it is. So yeah, it's gonna be some time over the weekend. Anyways, I have a trip set up 8 jumps away. I just kind of arbitrarily took I had a trip set up. Oh, because we switched ships, and it canceled my route. Thanks there, Galaxy Map. We're gonna go ahead and just wow, I'm just batting 1,000 right now. We'll go ahead and do that. Hop out of here. All we're doing today is just we're going to fly around and see what kind of exobiology we can find. We're at a tritium hotspot right now, so that's not even something that we're worried about. We're just going to go, see what we can find, and then come back to the carrier, and I will spend my weekend doing some mining. Because today is Friday, so the video, since I publish the next day that something publishes, this video will publish on Monday, which means I'll have, the weekend to do mining, and then Tuesday will be a new travel episode. But I don't want to do too much in the way of mining episodes, especially back-to-back like that. Mining's pretty boring, not really something that a lot of people are going to want to sit and watch for extended periods of time, so yeah, that's what that is. Alright, we got 7 bodies in this system. Let's go ahead and do a quick scan, see what's here. With any luck, there'll be something worth our time. Alright, let me get this area scanned. Unfortunately, there was nothing there, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next system. Okay, 9 bodies in this system. We'll go ahead and do a scan. Get down below the plane of the system, hopefully, and we'll see if it works. All high metal content worlds. Interesting. I have a bad feeling they're really far away. It's not too bad. 24,000. I mean, it all depends. If there's biology there, then it's, that'll be single biology. Not wasting my time on that. There's always a possibility that there's something interesting there, but the odds are really small. I know some people come across things and they give me comments about this or that. It's like, yeah, your anecdotal evidence of it happening that way is fine, but in my experience over however many months or years now that I've been doing this consistently, that hasn't been my experience, so sorry. 14 bodies in this system, so let's go ahead and do a scan for this guy. Alright, no biology at all in this system. Continuing to move on to the next one. We're just not getting very lucky today. Okay, there was only 3 bodies in this system, and here you can already see them on the radar. They're just stars, so we'll just move on to the next one, I guess. 16 bodies here, so let's go ahead, get the fuel scooping done, get down below the plane, and see what this system has to offer. Alright, I'm not able to find the other ice world and its surrounding icy body, but as we said before, the odds of finding anything on an icy body is pretty small. I mean, I think I've only ever found Recepta on icy bodies, which is actually what we want to find, but The full spectrum system scanner is just so irritating to me that I just don't want to deal with it. So we're just gonna move on. 16 bodies here again, so we're gonna go ahead and get down and start scanning this stuff. It's kind of disappointing to just go through system after system sometimes. I mean, you know intellectually that, you know, that's just the way it's going to be. You're going to go through a bunch of systems. There's not going to be anything there. Still doesn't change the fact that, you know, you feel a little bit disappointed when you go through a bunch of different systems and there's just nothing there. And you're like, can I please find something pretty, please? Pretty, please, please, please. Okay, I found an icy body with 2 biological signatures on it. You know, it's going to be bacteria and fonticula, but at this point, I don't know, I'm just kind of desperate to find something to go do other than just scanning bodies. So we're going to go ahead and fly out here, land, get our samples, and then probably just start making our way back to the carrier, because we're only 2 jumps away from where we were trying to go anyway. And rerouting our jumps back to the carrier should take us back through different systems than we came through to get here. So yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm getting some serious lag in my game here. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Wrong way with the throttle. Now we have to fix that. Wait for it to come back down to 6. Come on, come back down to 6. There we go. Back up to 3/4 throttle. We'll get our probes out on this, verify that it's going to be the bacteria and fonticula. Go down, grab some fonticula samples, and if the bacteria is close enough that we can grab them easily, then we'll grab those just to add on to the money. I mean, I'd like to make our 35 million credits or whatever that we need to pay off the carrier nut this week, but outside of that, we got our 6 probes out going around the planet there. We'll find out what's here. Bacterium and fonticula. Boy, it's almost like I know what I'm doing. Just saying. I've done so many of these that I just, you know, you start to recognize the patterns in the way things work. So yeah, 2 biological sources: bacteria, fonticula. High metal content: bacteria, Stratotectonicus. 3 to 4, probably bacteria and a couple of grass species. Maybe you get the other kind of stratum. Single biology planets. All the vast majority of them are. Orbital flight engaged. Am I losing my mind here? I feel like I'm not. Okay, like I felt like I was losing my mind for a second there. None of the symbology I'm used to seeing when I do a planetary landing is showing up, so it was just confusing the hell out of me. Let's go to this spot over here. Yeah, we'll go to this spot over here. This should have enough. This should have enough what we need that we'll be able to find 3 samples of it and get it done. Wow, we're at a planet that really does not have a lot of sunlight hitting it, so we're going to have to hop down here and try to be super careful because I can't see the ground very well, even with the night vision on. It's a little bit difficult. That also means that finding, I mean, that's bacteria there, but I really want to find the fonticula that we're trying to get to before I do anything else. Okay, there it is. So, okay, that's an interesting version of fonticula at the very least. Let's go ahead and get our landing gear down. I forgot to do that. That's how long it's been since we've actually landed on a planet that I forgot to put my landing gear down immediately. That's fine. We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna go scan some. We're gonna go scan some space fungus, and then we'll move on with our day. But yeah, even on the light side of this planet, it is dark here, so that's not the best. Yeah, this is an interesting version of fonticula that I don't know if we found this before. It's an unusual shape. It reminds me more of Clippia than it does some kind of fonticula, but that's the way it works. I'm going to continuously talk for the next couple of samples, hopefully, because if I stop talking, it stops recording, and then you're not going to see the flying part of all of this, me hovering over the ground like a madman. So, oops. I hit the wrong button. I was trying to turn my night vision back on, and I pressed the M key and the mic key instead of the November key, and that didn't work out very well for me. So, yeah, there's that. I'm trying to like, because one of the things I do fairly well is just fly around and do things that are relatively interesting from a flight perspective, and you don't really get to see that very much out in the black because there's nothing to do that way unless you're close to the ground and trying to do that stuff. And typically I do a reasonable job, but it's so dark here I can't see what I'm doing, so I need to turn the night vision on, but I didn't realize that the night vision wasn't on yet. So yeah, there's that. I gotta remember to turn it on right now when we hop back into the ship, then take off, because it doesn't automatically turn back on apparently. That's you know, the way that it works, I guess. And then we'll do a, we'll get over here like this, and then do something like this to slow ourselves down, and then land right there. Because one of the things that I don't think a lot of people realize is that the thrusters, when you're changing your orientation, actually do have a really strong braking effect. So if you're struggling to slow down, consider yanking your spaceship around, and that will usually slow whatever forward momentum you have, because the act of the thrusters trying to slow your, or trying to change your direction, really has a braking effect on everything else that you're doing. There is another bacteria over there, so let's go ahead and run over there and grab that, since, you know, it's close, and hopefully we can find a couple more options before we head out of here. Okay, so for this one, we have Bacterium Informum Gold. So that's kind of interesting. It has a little, kind of like a detailed brain pattern on it, which is, you know, nice. I'm not typically a fan of bacteria, because it's basically just a, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember the word for it, but, you know, when you play the old style 3D games and you see something on the wall and it's basically just a 2D image, that's basically what the bacteria is. It's just a 2D image on the wall. Decal or something like that. I can't remember what the word for it is, but it's a word for, like, when you're playing something like Half-Life or something like that, and you're walking down, and there's technically supposed to be a 3D object there, but they drew it as a 2D decal or whatever word it is. That's pretty much what the bacteria is. So it can only be so interesting, because there's no third dimension really to it. It's just, you know, it's a flat piece of scum on the ground. All right, we got this one here too. It actually doesn't look brain pattern from this angle here. I don't know. We're grabbing the stuff as much as we can and trying to make us some money. We'll route ourselves back to the carrier once we're done with this part. I just need to skim the ground a little bit more. The light seems to be better now. I'm not sure why. We'll go ahead and get the night vision out. For those of you who haven't done a lot of exobiology, but you're interested in it, your night vision actually is super useful. As you can see, especially here in dark areas where it's hard to see, it gives you an outline of any 3D objects that are on the ground, which is really nice to have. Even in bright areas, if you have certain types of biology that you're trying to find, but for whatever reason you're just not able to make it out against the background, because maybe it's the same color or the shaping of it, it's just really hard to see. The outline from the night vision can make the biology much easier to find. Now, the problem that a lot of people are going to run into is that bacteria does not respond to night vision. The bacteria patches themselves do not glow with the night vision. So you would think that that would be a problem, but the issue with that is that because it's pretty much the only thing that doesn't glow, in the night vision, it actually does make it a fair bit easier to, I forgot what I was doing. It actually does make it a fair bit easier to locate whatever it is that you're doing. All right, yeah, so it does seem like we're going back through different, are we going back through different stars? I can't tell. Yeah, we're going back. We're going to be taking a slightly different route going back. 6 jumps to get back, so we'll see what we can find. Pretty much since we stopped for this, I'm only going to stop for Stratum Tectonicus. So if you find a high metal content planet with 2 on it, we may stop for that. Otherwise, we're just going to book it back to the carrier so that we can turn in our money and get paid for the week. And as always, we're going to boost out of the gravity well of the planet here so that we can get line of sight, charge our frame shift drive, and get started heading back towards the carrier. 16 bodies here. We're getting a lot of systems that have 16 bodies in them. It's kind of weird, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Getting a bunch of systems pretty much in a row that have the same number of bodies in them is just, oh, we scanned this one already. All right. The problem that we're going to have is that some of the systems are probably going to be places that we went to, but you could see from the galaxy map route that the route that we're on now does diverge fairly significantly from the route that we came here on. So most of the 6 jumps that we have to do should be new systems, not things that we've already been to. Unless I'm just remembering wrong. I could have swore that the galaxy maps was telling me that we were going through mostly new systems. I don't know. Okay, only 1 body in this system, so that's definitely new. I would say definitely. I'm pretty sure that's new. I don't remember passing through any systems on the way out here that only had 1 body in it. Okay, there's 3 bodies here, but the radar is only showing me 2 stars, so that means there's probably something else in here. We'll just, well, whatever it was, whatever it is, it must have been a star somewhere. So we'll just head on to another one. We have 3 jumps left to go to get back to the carrier, so there's that. Yo, there's 27 bodies in this one. Since we don't really have anything that we need to get done specifically, we're just going to go ahead and do our last couple of jumps here. If the next system has something cool, we'll check it out. Otherwise, we'll just go back to the carrier and see how much money we made. Okay, there's 11 bodies here. We'll go ahead and give it a quick scan just to see what's here. But it needs to be something super compelling to get me to... Icy bodies is not going to be compelling, but... yeah, that's, especially 200... yeah, we're not even going to bother with that. Let's just go ahead and move on. Icy bodies, we just left an icy body. Yeah, there could be Recepta, maybe. But we're far enough into the episode that I kind of just... I'm far enough into my recording time for the day that I'm ready to just get back to the carrier. Okay, let's get the Super Cruise Assist turned on. Unfortunately, why is it telling me that the target is... oh, I forgot. I forgot that the carrier is all the way over here because we had to put it next to where we're going to be doing our mining. So let me cover this distance, and I'll bring you guys back when we're ready to dock with the carrier. I have to say, one of the things I like about the Mandalay's Super Cruise Overdrive is that it doesn't really take that long to get the Super Cruise to come back. So I turn it off, and then I can just kind of turn it back on again when I'm ready. And it's, you know, it doesn't really, I don't know. Basically, pretty much when I feel like it's ready to go, it's ready to go. It's not like the other ships where you have to wait like forever for the Super Cruise Overdrive to be ready to go. So I'm a big fan of the... I mean, it's why the Mandalay is the premier exploration ship at this point. I barely used any fuel Super Cruise overdriving over here. I was able to keep my ship on target pretty much the whole way. And when I deactivate the Super Cruise, it doesn't feel as punishing as it would in other ships because, you know, you wait like, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds and then you're just able to turn it back on again. So, I don't know. There's a reason why the Mandalay is the exploration ship is the premier exploration ship now. It's the reason why we're going to be using it most of the time. I want to have the variety of the other ships. That's why we have it's partially why we have the fleet carrier outside of just the fact that it gives us a 500 light year jump range. But mostly it's just, you know, the Mandalay is going to be what we're using because it just needs to be. We are back at the carrier, so we're going to go ahead and close the distance, figure out which landing pad we're going to be going to. Well, I got to try to remember to get my landing gear out, so I'm going to illustrate what I'm talking about. I can just fling my ship around, and that drastically reduces my speed, so you don't have to necessarily wait for it. Just fling your ship around a little bit. And, I mean, the bigger ships obviously aren't going to see as much of a benefit from that, but it does still work for the most part. I mean, obviously, if you're flying around a cutter or you know, a beluga or something big like that, you're not going to notice the effects nearly as well. But the medium ships and small ships, you just fling your vector around a little bit, or you fling your orientation around a little bit, and the action of the thrusters doing that will significantly slow you down. So, first and foremost, let's go ahead, hop into Universal Cartographics, grab whatever money we can out of that. It's probably not going to be that much, but it's better than nothing. So let's take a moment and wait for the extremely long loading time for what should just be a spreadsheet. I don't know why it takes so long to load these pages. It's super frustrating, especially like when I went back to every time I went back to the, or I don't know, when I went back to the bubble and came back, and then I went back to the bubble again and came back, I had like 21 pages worth of stuff, and it took me forever to get those things offloaded into Universal Cartographics. Super annoying. Super annoying. Okay, we're back into the we're back in the carrier now. It's actually a pretty bright carrier this time. It's kind of weird because whatever lighting conditions there are outside seems to affect the lighting conditions inside the carrier. It's a weird bug that really should be fixed because it kind of breaks the immersion there. But I have noticed that the lighting inside my carrier hangar changes depending on the star that you're near or whatever, all that stuff. So yeah, they really need to fix that. So let's sell our organic data. We got, all right, 12 million or 11.5 million plus the first footfall is probably going to give us a good 30. Oh, almost 60 million. Never mind. You know, more or less worth dropping down to go do that because we haven't found anything else. But outside of that, I don't know. Anyways, that's going to go ahead and do it for today's episode. Hopefully you guys had lots of fun. Be sure to click the like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Join as a member for early access to videos, among other perks. Or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with that thanks button. Also have PayPal and Patreon links in the description if you prefer to go that route, because some people do like to go outside of YouTube to help out with channels. So those are there for your convenience. So again, thank you very much for your time. Be sure to come back for tomorrow's episode, and I'll see you then.